Did you know that the UK is losing skilled workers at a record pace, with thousands leaving every single month? Behind the headlines are real people. Engineers, doctors, teachers, and IT experts who once built their lives in Britain, but now see no future here. Rising living costs, shrinking opportunities, and growing frustration are pushing them to pack their bags for countries that offer more stability, better pay, and a higher quality of life. The question is, why are so many leaving all at once? And what does it reveal about the state of the UK today? Number 10. Quality of life concerns. Beyond wages, taxes, and housing, many skilled workers point to a broader decline in the UK's quality of life as the final reason for leaving. Daily life has become increasingly stressful, with transport strikes, rising crime rates, and overcrowded cities adding constant pressure. Long commutes on unreliable trains or congested roads leave workers drained before their day even begins. Families worry about safety, as certain areas face higher levels of petty crime and antisocial behaviour. For professionals already struggling to balance demanding jobs, these issues make life in the UK feel less rewarding. When they compare these challenges with other countries that provide safer, cleaner, and more efficient living conditions, the appeal of leaving becomes clear. Social inequality is another factor weighing heavily on the decision to migrate. Many skilled workers see growing gaps between rich and poor, with fewer opportunities for upward mobility. Public services such as transport, education, and healthcare, once designed to provide equal footing, now feel overstretched and underfunded. This erosion of fairness makes many professionals feel that no matter how hard they work, the system is stacked against them. Skilled migrants in particular may face additional barriers, encountering discrimination or difficulties in recognition of their qualification. By contrast, countries with stronger social systems often offer not only more support, but also a greater sense of belonging and fairness. For many, quality of life is not just about money, but about dignity, stability, and the ability to build a meaningful future. Access to green spaces, family-friendly policies, and social cohesion are increasingly important to professionals weighing whether to stay or go. Countries like Canada, New Zealand, and Scandinavian nations promote themselves as destinations where people can enjoy both career success and a fulfilling lifestyle. Skilled workers realize that by leaving the UK, they are not simply chasing higher wages, they are pursuing environments where daily life feels healthier, safer, and more balanced. This recognition makes quality of life one of the most decisive factors behind the record numbers of skilled workers departing the UK today. Number 9. Limited career progression. A growing frustration for many skilled workers in the UK is the feeling of limited career progression. Professionals across industries report that opportunities for advancement are narrowing, with fewer senior roles available and promotions often delayed. In sectors like healthcare, education, and technology, budget cuts and hiring freezes mean talented employees find themselves stuck in the same positions for years, despite their skills and experience. This stagnation discourages workers who have invested heavily in training and education, leaving them searching for environments where their ambitions can be realized. Countries abroad, eager to attract global talent, present themselves as places where career ladders are not only intact, but actively supported. The decline in funding for research and innovation has also played a role. Universities and laboratories once renowned for groundbreaking work now face reduced grants and fewer international collaborations, especially after Brexit. Skilled professionals in science and technology see their projects downsized or abandoned, with little hope for renewal. For ambitious workers, this lack of investment sends a clear message: their talents may be better valued elsewhere. In contrast, nations such as Germany, Canada, and Australia are actively increasing funding for innovation and research, creating fertile ground for advancement. For professionals in medicine, engineering, or IT, these countries offer the promise of steady growth and recognition that feels increasingly absent in the UK. Even within private industries, career paths often feel blocked by slow-moving corporate cultures and shrinking budgets. Skilled workers who seek mentorship, training, and leadership opportunities find themselves constrained by organizations focused on cost-cutting rather than growth. Over time, this erodes not only motivation, but also loyalty. Many skilled workers reach a point where they realize that staying in the UK means sacrificing their long-term goals. Abroad, they are promised not just higher wages, but also structured paths to leadership, continuous development, and professional respect. For these individuals, the decision to leave is less about abandoning the UK and more about pursuing the future they deserve, one where their skills lead to meaningful progress. Number 8. Political instability. The constant sense of political instability in the UK has created deep uncertainty for skilled workers. Over the past decade, leadership changes, shifting policies, and economic mismanagement have made it difficult for professionals to plan their futures. One year brings promises of tax cuts, the next brings higher rates. Immigration rules are revised and then revised again, creating confusion for both British citizens and international workers. Skilled professionals often feel that they are caught in the middle of unpredictable political battles, with their careers and families affected by decisions that change direction with every new government. This lack of long-term stability discourages people from investing their energy in building a life in the UK. The impact of instability on the economy is another strong motivator for workers leaving. Businesses hesitate to invest when policies shift too frequently, and industries dependent on government support, such as healthcare, technology, or green energy, struggle to develop sustainable plans. Skilled workers within these sectors face constant job insecurity, watching projects collapse or funding dry up after each political reshuffle. For professionals who value growth and certainty, this unpredictability is draining. When they compare the UK with countries offering consistent strategies and stable governance, the contrast is clear. Nations like Canada, Australia, and parts of Europe offer an environment where workers can focus on their careers without fear of sudden destabilizing changes in policy. Political instability also affects the social climate. Debates over immigration, identity, and economic policy have deepened divisions across communities, leaving many workers feeling alienated. Professionals who once viewed the UK as a tolerant and forward-looking society now see polarization and uncertainty dominating public life. For skilled migrants, this atmosphere can be especially discouraging, as they feel less welcome and less secure about their long-term place in the country. Skilled British citizens, too, often see greater opportunity abroad in environments that feel more united and predictable. For many, leaving the UK is not simply about wages or housing, but about seeking a place where they and their families can feel secure. Number 7. Decline in work-life balance. For many skilled workers, the decline in work-life balance across the UK has become a breaking point. Jobs that once promised stability and fair conditions now often demand longer hours, tighter deadlines, and constant availability. Remote work, once celebrated as a way to improve flexibility, has in many cases blurred the boundaries between professional and personal life. Workers find themselves answering emails late into the evening or working weekends just to keep up. This culture of overwork leaves little room for rest, family, or personal development, creating burnout that feels inescapable. When skilled professionals compare their experiences with countries that prioritize shorter work weeks and more generous leave, the contrast is stark. A growing number of European nations, such as the Netherlands and Germany, emphasize employee well-being by enforcing stricter limits on working hours and offering more vacation days. By contrast, the UK lags behind, with one of the longest average working weeks in Europe. Parents especially struggle, as limited childcare options force them to juggle demanding schedules while still meeting family responsibilities. This imbalance creates constant stress and dissatisfaction, leading many to question whether staying is sustainable. The lack of emphasis on leisure and personal time contributes to a broader feeling that professional life in the UK demands too much, while giving too little in return. Skilled workers who feel exhausted by this cycle see relocation as an escape to healthier routines. The decline in balance is also tied to mental health concerns. Rising stress, workplace pressure, and reduced access to supportive services have left many workers feeling overwhelmed. Surveys consistently show that UK employees report higher rates of anxiety and burnout compared to their European peers. For skilled professionals who invest years in building their expertise, the reward of constant exhaustion feels inadequate. Moving abroad offers not just financial benefits, but also the chance to live in societies where downtime, family life, and well-being are valued. For many, this is not a luxury, but a necessity, and the UK's failure to adapt has turned work-life balance into a powerful reason to leave. Number 6. Strained healthcare system. The healthcare system in the UK, once a source of pride, has become a growing concern for skilled workers, deciding whether to stay or leave. Long waiting times for basic treatments, delays in specialist referrals, and overcrowded emergency departments create daily frustrations that affect not just patients, but also professionals working within the system. Skilled workers with families often find themselves anxious about whether they can access timely healthcare in moments of need. The decline in the NHS, combined with the high cost of private alternatives, makes the UK feel increasingly risky for those who value reliable medical care. This erosion of security pushes many to consider countries where healthcare access is faster and more dependable. The situation has been worsened by staff shortages. Thousands of doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals have already left the NHS due to exhaustion, low pay, and overwhelming demand. For skilled workers in other fields, this collapse in staffing means that their families face even greater struggles to receive treatment. A sick child may wait weeks for an appointment, while necessary operations are delayed for months or even years. When professionals compare this with healthcare systems in countries like Germany, Canada, or Australia, where investment in medical infrastructure is stronger, the decision to leave becomes clearer. They want to ensure their family's health is prioritized, and many feel the UK can no longer guarantee that. Healthcare pressures also impact overall quality of life. Knowing that a medical emergency could turn into a long and stressful ordeal adds a constant layer of worry. For skilled workers already stretched by high costs and long hours, the inability to rely on healthcare adds to a sense of instability. Countries abroad not only offer shorter waiting times, but also integrate health and well-being into their broader social systems, reinforcing security for working families. For many skilled workers, this difference is decisive. It is not only about jobs and pay, but about living in a place where they can confidently safeguard their loved one's health. The weakening of the NHS has therefore become one of the clearest motivators driving skilled workers out of the UK. Number 5. Brexit fallout. The long shadow of Brexit continues to drive skilled workers out of the UK, reshaping opportunities and limiting the professional growth many once expected. Before leaving the European Union, workers enjoyed the freedom to move, live, and collaborate across member states without obstacles. That freedom vanished after Brexit, creating a wall of red tape around industries that rely on international cooperation. Skilled workers in sectors like finance, science, healthcare, and technology suddenly found themselves cut off from seamless collaboration, with visas, permits, and restrictions replacing what was once an open door. For ambitious professionals, this shrinking horizon feels suffocating, especially when neighbouring EU countries now present smoother pathways for career development. The economic consequences of Brexit also weigh heavily on workers' decisions. Many industries that thrived on trade and open markets have struggled with new barriers, reducing growth and limiting job prospects. Export-dependent companies, for instance, face rising costs and delays that ultimately impact hiring and wages. Skilled workers in research, education, and engineering report a decline in EU funding and collaborative projects that previously provided global recognition. The ripple effect is clear: fewer opportunities at home and better prospects abroad. Countries within the EU, such as Germany, Ireland, and the Netherlands, actively recruit this displaced talent, offering stability, mobility, and access to the broader European market. For many UK workers, relocating across the Channel is not just an option. It feels like regaining lost freedom. Brexit has also reshaped the social and cultural climate, creating a sense of division that many professionals find unsettling. Skilled migrants, who once felt welcome, now face stricter immigration rules, and in some cases, hostile attitudes that discourage them from staying. Even British citizens feel the shift, recognizing that the country is no longer as connected or influential as it once was. This perception of isolation fuels the belief that the UK is moving backward while others move forward. For skilled workers who value growth, innovation, and international opportunity, Brexit's fallout is a clear signal to pack their bags and pursue brighter futures elsewhere. Number 4. Housing crisis. The housing crisis in the UK has become one of the most significant reasons skilled workers are leaving. Owning a home, once considered an achievable goal for working professionals, has turned into a distant dream for many. Property prices in cities like London, Oxford, and Bristol have skyrocketed beyond the reach of even well-paid workers. A skilled engineer or nurse with years of experience may still struggle to save for a deposit, as housing costs rise far faster than wages. For younger professionals, the idea of securing a first home is nearly impossible, pushing them toward countries where their income can translate into stable home ownership. This constant battle against unaffordable housing leaves many feeling trapped and frustrated. Renting, often seen as the alternative, offers little relief. Rental prices have surged at record speeds, with landlords increasing costs year after year. Skilled workers often spend more than half their salary on rent, leaving little for savings or future security. Families face even harsher realities, as larger properties in safe neighborhoods cost far beyond what most can afford. Many workers are forced into shared housing situations well into their 30s or 40s, a scenario that feels unsustainable for those trying to build careers and raise families. When professionals compare this reality with places like Germany, Canada, or the Netherlands, where housing policies provide more affordable access, they quickly realize they could achieve a much higher standard of living abroad. Beyond cost, the shortage of quality housing also fuels the crisis. Skilled workers often find themselves competing for poorly maintained flats, long waiting lists, and overcrowded conditions in urban centers. The government's repeated promises to build more homes have failed to keep pace with demand, creating a growing sense of hopelessness. For professionals who have worked hard to build expertise, living in substandard housing feels like a betrayal of their effort. By contrast, moving abroad offers not just better affordability, but also the dignity of secure and comfortable living. For many skilled workers, the UK housing crisis is no longer just an inconvenience. It has become the decisive factor that pushes them to seek a better life elsewhere. Number 3. Tax burden. Another powerful reason why skilled workers are leaving the UK in record numbers is the heavy tax burden that continues to eat away at their take-home pay. On paper, salaries may look competitive, but after deductions for income tax, national insurance, and other contributions, the actual disposable income often feels disappointingly low. For middle and high earners in particular, marginal tax rates can be punishing, leaving them questioning whether the effort of staying in demanding roles is truly worthwhile. Skilled workers compare their tax obligations in the UK with those in other developed nations, and many conclude that they would retain far more of their earnings abroad. This sense of unfairness pushes them toward countries with more favourable tax systems, where their expertise is better rewarded. The frustration is heightened by the perception that the services funded by these high taxes are declining in quality. Workers see the NHS under strain, public transport plagued by delays, and infrastructure that fails to meet modern standards, making them wonder where their money is going. For skilled professionals, this mismatch between what they contribute and what they receive creates resentment. They are paying more each year, yet often feel they are getting less in return. The recent increase in so-called stealth taxes, such as frozen tax thresholds, only deepens this problem. Many skilled workers find themselves pushed into higher tax brackets without any real increase in purchasing power, effectively lowering their living standards. Meanwhile, nations like the United Arab Emirates, Singapore, and even parts of Europe actively promote themselves as low-tax destinations for skilled talent. These places not only offer lower personal tax rates, but also combine them with high-quality public services and attractive lifestyles. For UK workers burdened by taxes that seem ever increasing, the appeal of relocating to such countries is strong. They see an opportunity to achieve greater financial freedom, save more for their families, and enjoy a higher quality of life. This contrast makes it easy to understand why taxation is not just an economic concern, but a decisive factor driving record levels of skilled workers out of the UK. Number 2. Stagnant wages. One of the main frustrations driving skilled workers out of the UK is the reality of stagnant wages. While the cost of living has surged dramatically, wages for many sectors have barely moved in the past decade. Skilled professionals, from engineers to healthcare staff, report that their earnings simply do not reflect the responsibilities or qualifications required for their roles. This imbalance creates a sense of being undervalued, especially when compared to peers abroad who earn more for the same work. Workers who once saw the UK as a land of opportunity now feel stuck in a cycle where their salaries stretch less each year, leaving them questioning whether staying is worth the effort. Inflation has made this issue worse, as rising prices erode the purchasing power of salaries. Official figures show that average pay increases have often been outpaced by inflation, meaning that even when workers receive raises, their real income continues to fall. For example, a small annual increase does little to offset double-digit rises in energy or housing bills. Skilled workers in vital fields such as teaching, nursing, and IT see that their expertise is in high demand internationally, and many choose to relocate to countries where salaries are adjusted more regularly to match living costs. This global demand for talent highlights the UK's inability to remain competitive, further encouraging the outflow of professionals. Beyond financial survival, stagnant wages also affect morale and career satisfaction. When workers feel that their hard work is not rewarded, motivation declines and resentment grows. Skilled professionals who dedicate years to training and education expect to see steady progress in their pay and career trajectory. Instead, many encounter wage freezes, minimal bonuses or promotions that do not bring meaningful financial improvement. Other nations, particularly Canada, Germany, and Australia, actively advertise higher wages and career growth opportunities to attract talent, offering what the UK no longer provides. Faced with this stark contrast, skilled workers realize they can achieve both financial security and professional recognition by leaving. For many, stagnant wages are not just about money, it is about dignity and the belief that their skills are valued fairly. Number 1. High cost of living. The cost of living in the UK has reached a breaking point for many skilled workers, forcing them to consider leaving the country altogether. Over the past few years, prices of essentials such as food, transport, and especially energy have climbed faster than wages. Families now face the difficult reality that a large portion of their monthly income is consumed just by keeping the lights on, filling the car, or paying for groceries. London, Manchester, and Birmingham, once considered hubs of opportunity, are now seen by many as financial traps, where earnings no longer guarantee stability. For workers who have invested years in their professions, the constant pressure of rising bills makes everyday life feel like an uphill struggle. Housing costs remain one of the most pressing issues. Property prices and rent in major UK cities are among the highest in Europe, with many skilled professionals unable to buy a modest home even after years of saving. Renting offers little relief as rents have risen at record speed, while available housing stock continues to shrink. Young professionals often find themselves in cramped accommodations, paying half or more of their monthly salary on rent alone. Skilled workers with families are particularly hard hit, as they need larger homes and access to safe neighbourhoods, something increasingly unaffordable in the UK market. When they compare these conditions to other countries, where the same salary could secure a spacious home and a better quality of life, the decision to leave becomes easier. The financial pressure also extends into areas like childcare and healthcare-related expenses. While the NHS is technically free, long waiting times push families toward private care, which is costly. Childcare fees in the UK are among the highest in the developed world, eating away at household income and making it nearly impossible for both parents to work full-time without significant sacrifice. For skilled workers, the equation becomes clear. Why stay in a country where even a good salary cannot guarantee financial comfort when other nations offer more affordable living and better support structures? This economic mismatch is one of the strongest driving forces behind the record numbers of skilled workers packing up and leaving the UK. The story of skilled workers leaving the UK is more than just a statistic. It is a reflection of deeper cracks in the nation's foundations, from the high cost of living to stagnant wages, from an overburdened healthcare system to the weight of political uncertainty. Each reason reveals how daily life has become harder for those who once saw the UK as a land of opportunity. These are not decisions made lightly. They come from families and professionals who want stability, security, and recognition for their skills. As record numbers depart, the consequences are already visible. Industries face shortages, public services lose vital talent, and the economy weakens with every departure. Yet the movement also carries a clear message. Skilled workers are not only chasing higher salaries abroad, but a better quality of life for themselves and their families. Until the UK addresses these structural challenges, the exodus is likely to continue. This is not just about who is leaving, it's about what the UK is losing: innovation, expertise, and the very people who keep the nation running. The future depends on whether these warning signs spark real change before more talent slips away.